Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy want to cut $2 trillion from government spending and shut down many agencies while firing millions of workers. But what agencies will they shut down? Exactly what types of jobs will be eliminated? And what is the biggest government agency that will not exist very soon? Well, as you know, Elon Musk does not like to waste money. He only spends it on things that are necessary. We will analyze 5 different areas where the US government spends money annually, and we'll go from the smallest budget spendings to the biggest and most important ones, which in total amount to $860 billion annually, an amount Musk wants to change. For that, we can look at how many billions were spent in 2023. So let's explain everything. So Elon Musk shared a very interesting opinion to his Twitter followers, and Musk believes that there are so many things that need to be changed in the government. Musk also shared a post on X about how the Pentagon failed its audit again and lost billions of dollars. He joked, "This sounds like a job for Doge." And since Musk and Ramaswamy will be in charge of a new agency called the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, they want to change all of that. Vivek talked about Doge during his interview with Fox News, where he said, over $500 billion that is spent every year right now, they can't even tell you where it goes. We have talked a big game for 40 years, cutting the federal government and reducing the scope. Politicians haven't been able to do it. Elon and I aren't politicians, we're businessmen. And Doge already released a tweet saying, working overtime to make sure your tax dollars are spent wisely. But what are these sectors that government spends money from the budget that Musk wants to change? Well, there are 5 different areas. The first one, as Elon Musk criticized that the government spends a giant of money from the budget, is about Corporation for Public Broadcasting, CPB, and Planned Parenthood. Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have also suggested cutting funding for these programs as part of their plan to reduce government spending. The goal is to reallocate these funds to lower overall government costs. In 2022, the CPB received $485 million in discretionary funds. And if this funding were cut, the government could save billions over the next decade, an estimated $5.8 billion between 2023 and 2032. In fiscal year 2023, Planned Parenthood received approximately $750 million in taxpayer funding, plus the CPB was allocated $485 million in federal funds. So in total, it was around $1.2 billion. So lately, if we have to guess, in this area of CPB and Planned Parenthood, government spends around $1.2 billion annually. The second area where government spends a giant amount of money from the budget is about international organizations. Musk and Vivek have highlighted the role of international organizations and proposed reducing funding in several areas. For example, the UN's regular budget covers its main administrative costs, including expenses for the General Assembly, Security Council, Secretariat, International Court of Justice, special political missions, and human rights groups. The budget is approved by the Assembly and covers 1 year. Most decisions about the budget are made by agreement, but when there are votes, they are decided by a 2/3 majority of members present, with each country having 1 vote. The approved regular budget for 2023 was $3.4 billion. Cutting its funding could encourage the UN to make changes and improve its programs so the money is used better. There are also concerns about poor management and a lack of accountability in some of the UN's activities. So in the last few years in this area of CPB and Planned Parenthood, government spends around $3.4 billion annually. The third area, as Elon Musk criticized, is the Pentagon's F-35 program. He called the people building manned fighter jets like the F-35 idiots in a post on X, adding a trash can emoji. In a follow-up post, Musk continued his criticism. The F-35 design was broken from the start because it was expected to do too many things for too many people, he said. This made it an expensive and complicated jack of all trades, but master of none. Success was never a realistic outcome. The F-35 program continues to face delays, rising costs, and late deliveries. Despite producing over 125 aircraft annually, the program is struggling to complete the necessary testing to prove the F-35 is ready for full-scale production, especially because the F-35 simulator is not yet finished. In fact, the total procurement costs for the F-35 have increased by $13.4 billion since 2019. The costs of this program have only grown. The lifetime cost of the F-35 is now expected to top $2 trillion, a significant increase from previous estimates. In fiscal year 2023, the U.S. Department of Defense, DoD, allocated approximately $11 billion for the procurement of 61 F-35 Joint Strike Fighter aircraft. So lately in this area of F-35 program, government spends around $11 billion annually. The fourth area where government spends a giant amount of money from the budget is about federal employees' expenses. In recent years, many Republican lawmakers have grown concerned that the increase in teleworking and remote work among federal employees is hurting the productivity of government agencies. To address this, Congress included a requirement in the 2024 budget legislation for the White House to provide detailed data on federal agency telework and how they plan to reduce their office space usage if they are using less than 60% of it. Musk recommended large-scale cuts to government spending, including firing federal workers and ending remote work. Musk and Vivek argue that requiring federal workers to return to the office could lead to a wave of voluntary resignations. They believe that if employees don't want to work in the office, taxpayers shouldn't be paying them to stay home. In fiscal year 2023, the U.S. federal government employed approximately 2.3 million civilian workers. The average salary for these employees was around $96,052, with a median salary of $79,194. Federal employees also receive substantial benefits. In 2021, the average value of these benefits was estimated at $44,021 per employee. Therefore, in 2023, the federal government very likely spent approximately $336.2 billion on civilian employee salaries and benefits. So, in this area of federal employees' expenses, if we have to guess, the government spends around $336 billion annually. The fifth area, as Musk criticized, that spends excessive amounts of money from the budget is about unauthorized federal spendings. Musk and Ramaswamy aim to target over $500 billion in government spending that is not properly approved by Congress or is being spent in ways Congress never intended. This includes money allocated to programs like the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, grants to international organizations, and funding to groups like Planned Parenthood. A report from the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, in July 2024 revealed that $516 billion in unauthorized spending was used in fiscal year 2024. Some of this spending is for essential programs, such as veterans' health care and defense, which Congress intended to fund but didn't formally authorize. This lack of formal authorization might be a result of political inefficiency rather than intentional disregard. In 2023, 1,108 programs were found to be operating without current authorization, with $510 billion in appropriations linked to expired authorizations. Musk and Ramaswamy plan to stop funding these programs, hoping to save over $500 billion annually. So lately in this area of unauthorized federal spendings, government spends around $510 billion annually. So in total, these expenses account around $860 billion, where government spends money annually. And if we look at a lot of various reports, these are areas which Musk and Vivek will try to change as much as they can. And that's it for today.